This was big news in our state just over 5 years ago when Iowa's Medicaid system went from being run by the state to being managed by private companies. And State Auditor Rob Sands says in that time, he and his investigators have seen a huge jump in the number of Iowans being denied Medicaid services. Auditor Sands joins us this afternoon to talk about exactly what this audit found. Appreciate you being here. And the upshot is that you found the number of Iowans being illegally denied service is up 500 to 890%, not cases, but percent.
That's right, Dan. Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, this is really simple. I worked at the Attorney General's office for 7 years. You have a choice, and the MCOs, the companies that manage this program now, have a choice. If you're going to take something in front of a judge or a jury, you should be confident in the facts and in the law that you've made the proper determination, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, to not waste the court's time,
to not waste the court's time, but also there's a person involved here.
Right.
When I was a criminal prosecutor, their liberty was on the line, but these are people who have their health care on the line. And you should be confident that you are making the right decision before you take it to the judge. Because if you don't want to take it to the judge, you can always back off. You can always reverse your decision. What we saw is that in the last 3 years of publicly run Medicaid to then the first 3 years of privately run, the number of times that independent judges overturned denials of care, meaning they said this was wrong to deny this care, we're going to give this person their health care back, increased 891%. The number of times that they agreed with the denial, that they said this is reasonable, this is appropriate, this reduction in care is we are going to uphold, went down 72%. There's really no explanation for this other than these companies that are running the program are more willing to take bad cases all the way to a judge.
Not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're describing, for lack of a better term, some sort of shotgun approach to attempting to deny care.
I don't know what they're doing. It could be competence. It could be mixed incentives. But at the end of the day, that bottom line figure is undeniable.
So you've raised this problem, this concern with the people in charge of overseeing this on behalf of the state, the people who ultimately have the check over these managed care organizations, these companies, right?
Well, we've talked about it with DHS, sure. I mean, at the end of the day, the decision on what even DHS can do is determined by the governor, right? It was Branstad that decided to privatize Medicaid. Reynolds has continued that decision, but the folks at DHS have to work within the parameters that they're given by the governor.
We have a statement from the DHS director, Kelly Garcia. Let's get that up on the screen right now. She points out that the audit of state report attempts to compare the appeals process. Well, let's start with Kelly Garcia's statement here. Over the past couple of years, my team and I have made many good faith efforts to demonstrate transparency and integrity with the auditor of state, which is why this is so disappointing. She's not addressing directly those numbers you pointed out. We have another quote here, and this is from Elizabeth Matney, Iowa's Medicaid director. The auditor of state report attempts to compare the appeals process between the old fee-for-service and the managed care models. We worked with the auditor of state's team to explain why this was an apples to oranges comparison. She continues here. The process is not the same, so making a comparison without factoring in the improvements we built into the MCO appeals process prior to ever seeing an administrative law judge is just wrong. I'm not sure I quite understand, but she's saying there have been some checks and balances that were built in during the transition that would ensure that this wouldn't happen, and yet it is. Is that?
Good question, Dan.
Is that what's being said, essentially?
Here's what I can tell you. Look, you and I and everybody else should be disappointed. We're taxpayers that are paying for this program, and we're not getting what we're paying these MCOs to do, right? This program was brought in with the promise that it was going to improve access to care and quality of care. Well, if you have people who are getting denied health care, who are then having to fight this out all the way to a judge to get a decision.
And who pays for that?
Taxpayers. We pay for that.
We pay for every time a private company that we're paying for goes to court to not provide what we're paying for.
Right, and now let me be fair, okay? Let's talk about the total number of appeals overall, okay? Because I do want to be fair about this, and our report is very fair. The total number of appeals overall has gone down because there is a first case review that the MCOs do have,
Which
right?
is what Matney was talking about there.
Right.
Yeah.
But we incorporated that into our report. In fact, we sat down, we had multiple meetings with DHS about this. We looked at the reports that they gave us, and we even incorporated some of the figures that they gave us into our analysis. If you wanted to take some of the numbers that they gave us and apply them favorably to the MCOs, not fairly to both sides, but just favorably, you would still be looking at a 588% increase in denials of care that get overturned by judges.
We're out of time. State Auditor Rob Sand, thanks for being on the program this afternoon. We're back with Ed's full forecast right